News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 98.3 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
A missing woman and her dog found safe after a week in the wild. Good morning, everyone. Montana Morning. It's Thursday, May 11th, 2017. Another gorgeous day in western Montana, but wicked weather will be heading our way in the next couple of days. We'll get to that here in a moment. Right now, it's clear and 39 degrees in Missoula. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by First Montana Bank, your home for free centennial checking and unlimited cash back with your debit card. Our top story this morning, a 23-year-old woman who was missing for a week in the Montana wilderness has been reunited with her parents in Glacier Park. Madeline Connolly told KTMF television she wanted to thank all those who searched for her over the last week. She said she felt like an idiot because it was due to a huge mistake that she ended up spending 7 days in treacherous weather conditions in the Great Bear Wilderness. She said she and her dog stopped to get a drink of water on the first day, and then she took a wrong turn. She said she didn't have any food or shelter with her. Connolly's mother called her daughter's rescue the best Mother's Day gift ever. She also thanked those who searched for her daughter and prayed for her safe return. Just after midnight Monday, a resident in the 2200 block of 36th Street here in Missoula reported he answered his door to find two people standing on the front step. Missoula Police Public Information Officer Travis Welsh said the resident called 911 after the two individuals attempted to rob him.
He described the first person at the door as a white male with a deep voice, standing about 5 feet 7 inches tall, wearing a dark hoodie and dark clothing overall with a blue or black bandana covering his face. He said that this male had either red or light brown hair and possibly a beard. He apparently said to the resident to hand over his wallet and cell phone.
According to Welsh, the second individual may have been even more threatening.
The resident had observed the second person standing behind the first, who was holding what appeared to be a firearm, like a rifle of some kind. So the resident just closed the door, and the suspects then were said to leave the area on foot. Right now, we have very little information on this as to who would have done this, so we're asking the public for any help.
Anyone with information about this incident or the individuals involved asked to call Detective Stonecipher at 552-6707. That's 552-6707. Governor Steve Bullock has signed a 2-year, $10.3 billion budget that was the source of tension throughout the legislative session as he and lawmakers look to close a revenue shortfall. Bullock signed the budget bill without making any line-item vetoes, the first time he's done so since becoming governor in 2013. Bullock's budget plan included cutting spending and raising taxes to leave $300 million in reserve. The Republican-led legislature resisted most of the tax hikes, looked for deeper cuts before adding some money back, and left an estimated $200 million in reserve. The budget was among the 12 bills signed and one vetoed by the Democratic governor Tuesday and yesterday. The approved bills included a measure to allow Talon Energy to borrow $10 million a year from the state to keep 2 units of the Colstrip power plant operating. A group of Stevensville high school students staged a protest on the school grounds yesterday afternoon over the firing of a beloved high school guidance counselor, Stephen Coop, and they received zeros for their missed classes. Superintendent of Schools Dr. Robert Moore said Coop's contract for the 2017-2018 school year was not renewed and quoted state statute pertaining to the issue.
The board took action last night under Montana Code annotated 20-4-206 and elected by board action to non-renew a non-tenured teacher, and the students are protesting that action.
KGVO News reached out to 3 of the students who were staging protests outside the school on Wednesday afternoon. They are in order: Savannah, Danielle, and Alex.
We're protesting because our counselor, who has been here for 3 years, he got fired for no reason, and he's been here for all the students here at Stevensville, and he's helped us all so much, and we just feel that it's very unfair that he got fired. He impacts all of us, and when we were at this school board meeting, after they made it official, almost everyone ran out of the building crying, including me. We are just all devastated, and we have worked so hard to try and keep him here. I was actually failing a lot of my classes, and I was not on the road to graduation, and since he's been here, he's gotten me to a 3.8 GPA and also talked me down from a suicidal thought. He's actually the reason I'm graduating and might actually be the reason I'm alive.
One of the parents of the protesting teens said that the Stevensville High School principal sent an email to the high school staff ordering them to give unexcused absences and zeros for the missed classes for all the students involved in the protest. A 67-year-old Montana man died after his motorcycle collided with a pickup truck near Canyon Ferry Dam northeast of Helena. The Highway Patrol said the pickup was turning off Canyon Ferry Road about 4:20 Tuesday afternoon when the collision happened. The Helena motorcycle rider, who was not wearing a helmet, died later at the hospital. His name has not yet been released, although he does have relatives here in Missoula. Patrol Sergeant Jay Nelson said the 68-year-old East Helena man who was driving the pickup was not injured. Officers are still investigating the cause of that crash. Missoula County high schools may change the time classes begin as soon as next year. This week, Missoula County Public School District 1 Superintendent Mark Thane said he and school trustees reviewed recommendations from groups like the CDC and the American Medical Association concerning the unique circadian rhythms of teenagers.
The premise is that high school students simply cannot fall asleep as early as we would like them to get the optimal amount of sleep, and that millions of high school students across the country are actually suffering the effects of sleep deprivation, which affects executive functioning, cognitive skills, even such things as suicide risk are impacted.
Now, work is underway to identify and overcome potential hurdles to shifting the start time. Thane says Missoula's busing system and student needs will be an issue.
Some of our high school students have after-school work obligations. Some of them care for younger siblings after school, etc. So part of our conversation was about being more flexible and nimble also, and maybe we have opportunities for those students who want to start school, say, earlier in a zero period and finish a little earlier. One size does not necessarily fit all.
The goal is to have high schools start no earlier than 8:30, and a change could be made as early as next fall. Warmer weather is impacting local rivers in western Montana. Hydrologist Ray Nicholas with the National Weather Service says this past week has caused a noticeable rise in waters.
We've actually seen the rivers this last week on the rise, from all the snow melt and from the warm temperatures we had. Some of the locations, like the Bitterroot River and the Clark Fork River in Missoula here, it'll get up pretty high with this additional snow melt. Right now, we're not expecting any of those to exceed the flood stage, but they could get up there pretty darn close.
Nicholas says it's too early yet to tell if the rivers have reached a high point.
We have rain events that occur in May and the first week in June. So until we've gotten out of that climatic period where we see these low-pressure systems that come in and don't have a lot of cool air with them and just carry a ton of rain, we can't say we've seen the peak until we're actually through probably the first or second week in June.
High rivers are a good sign that Montana may escape this summer without drought conditions, but it will delay spring fishing. And finally, if it's springtime at Bozeman High School, they must be making way for the ducklings. The Bozeman Daily Chronicle reports a mother duck hatched her ducklings in the school's enclosed courtyard again this year. Assistant Principal Erica Schnee said when the ducklings are ready to leave the courtyard, the mother taps on the door with her bill. Teachers and the school police officer ushered the mallard and her brood of a dozen through the halls on Monday, past the principal's office and cafeteria, and out the front door where they could access Mandeville Creek. Schnee says this is at least the sixth time the duck has sought safety and shelter in the courtyard. Gotta love it. News Talk time now, 6:13.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Partly sunny skies today with our high temperatures in the mid-80s. We will see a chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon with scattered showers and storms overnight. Temperatures will be cooler on Friday with highs in the 50s. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.